There is I mean, you touched on the topic in the message that I don't really know too much about. TD Jakes.
Oh,
I don't know too much about. So if you want to,
it's still
manifest.
Yeah.
Story is still unfolding.
The story is still unfolding. So I saw something. It was Isaiah. He posted something about TD Jakes yesterday, and say, "Hey man, like basically like y'all TD Jakes helped me get through some situations," or I forget exactly what he said. I don't want to butcher his words, but basically saying like, before we just jump to conclusions, this man has been around for this long. Like, let's at least take a second to look at things. Right? That's basically the gist of what he said. And I said, "Oh, what happened with TD Jakes?" Right?
What's going on with TD?
So then I went to do a little bit of digging,
a little research.
You know what I mean? A little research, and very quickly popped up that basically there was a news outlet that had linked TD Jakes and to like Diddy's Freaknik parties or whatever, freak offs, and then as I continued, I started seeing there was I want to call her, I don't know if she was a medium, but she was a psychic or something. Like 4 months ago, she predicted that this would happen, that he was gonna like start to come under fire. And
Diddy.
No, TD Jakes.
TD Jakes. Okay, is this white lady?
I think she's like mixed.
Okay.
It was on TikTok. You can probably find it, but because she reposted it now because it's like, here, I told y'all. Mm-hmm. And so she basically was saying that he's going to, all of his sins are going to come to light. And, he's going to end up dying over the situation because he's going to be doing everything to clear his name, not to do what's right or not because it is right. His ego is so big. He is going to do everything to clear his name. And he's going to end up dying without his name cleared. So I thought that was very interesting that this was like 3-4 months ago. And then now this situation is coming up.
Yeah.
Right. But then last year he was at one of Diddy's parties. So he's taking pictures with Diddy. You see like short videos of Diddy like laying his head on his shoulder, like in a very feminine-esque way. And there were like people that have been inside of the freak offs that have basically confirmed, and they said that they described TD as what they call a power bottom.
A power bottom?
Yeah.
What's a a power bottom?
Yeah. So apparently, I didn't look it up because I just didn't want to. But I heard the description of it.
Hold on. My mind, I don't want these images in my head.
I know.
Get out of my head! Power bottom. What is a power bottom? I can only imagine. No.
So basically, so I guess in that community, the bottom is the bottom.
Oh,
so
man.
the one that's taking.
So one who's laying on their back.
I don't know, back or they're the bottom.
I want to add a small little tidbit to this real quick.
Wait. Well, let me finish telling what a power bottom is.
What's a power bottom?
Okay.
Right, because it's different than a bottom.
Okay.
Right, but this is so. But the power portion is the bottom is in control, because usually the top is in control,
okay.
But the bottom is in control. So the bottom controls the tempo, tell them what to do. Like they are the power of the bottom. Which I'm just like, I could see how that could be, because he is potentially who he is.
Praise the Lord. Oh, man.
So,
I don't.
So
I want to add a very interesting tidbit. So I've been researching numerology, which includes a little bit of Chinese astrology in my study, right? And I've been testing what I'm learning as I'm just interacting with people. Hey, what's your birthday? What's your birthday? And I'm just saying, okay, do your traits line up with what I'm learning? Well, first of all, TD Jakes, and I just did it real quick here, so this ain't 100% perfect, or I might have made a mistake.
Perfect.
But based on what I just saw, he's a one life path, which is essentially their leaders, they're masculine. They're all the things that he would kind of portray. He has 3 energy in his chart, which means that he's a communicator, so it makes sense that he's TD Jakes, and then also I looked at his birth year, which he's a year of the rooster, and in the Chinese zodiac there are enemy years. So there's years where you are just going to flourish and bloom and you've got all the extra juice. And then there's the opposite end of that energy. And roosters, the enemy of a rooster is
a rabbit?
A rabbit.
Is 2024 the year of the rabbit?
2023.
Interesting.
Because that's how they're predicting. Well, I would imagine that's how they're predicting. I mean, you said she was a medium.
She's something. She's something of that nature. It wasn't. I don't think she's a numerologist. She's something.
Okay, because
you can probably, like I said, you can probably search her because it's trending now. So I'm sure.
Because Gary, the numbers guy, who I just started listening to through about numerology, he would predict like games and things like that. Certain outcomes, he would say, and it's not a perfect thing. It's a percentage thing. So if you have so many different things line up, it increases the chance of XYZ happening.
It's like that dude from One Piece who will do the chances of percentages. Oh,
yeah. Because he doesn't. He's never 100% one way or the other, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So it.
Do y'all think that TD Jakes is in that realm? Can y'all see a world where that's a reality, where that's true?
I don't see how you can't see it. I mean, if your eyes are open,
and this is just him being, I guess, gay in a sense, right? Or having
it's more than just gay.
It's more than gay.
It's because he was also talking about little boys,
kids,
potentially.
Children?
That's what I've heard.
It's the allegation.
Well, think about it. Well, those freak offs.
It's typically it's just like.
I mean,
in the Diddy situation, I didn't hear anything about kids.
He maybe have not had any kids directly, but I mean, you talk about grooming.
But I'm about to say in that level, there are always children involved.
Yeah, even if they're young, even if they're 14, 15, they're grooming, right? Yeah. Like, do you think that? I mean, you see, like, I can imagine it. So when I heard it, obviously the kid thing made me sick. I watched an interview where it was just a clip, but he was talking about, someone asked him about the LGBTQIA plus Z community in the church.
You have to do all that, man. Just the alphabet community.
Okay. So he asked him about the alphabet community, and he skated the question. He basically was just like, oh, well, I think that in today's society, things are changing, right? And the guy was like, okay. And he asked him the question again, like, well, do you think that that's okay, right, in the church? And he was like, well, we need to then look at things and realize that things have evolved and they're evolving, right? Basically saying that things years ago are different than they are now, and they're continuing to get different. And he basically said, I mean, I'm cool with it in the church. So it's just like, well, why would he, as TD Jakes, and the Bible is very clear on marriage and homosexuality. There's no room for that, right? You look at Sodom and Gomorrah, which was basically the Vegas of our time, but that was their whole, and God destroyed the whole city. In the Old Testament, right? He destroyed the whole city because it was like, this is just filth. All this lust, this homosexuality, prostitution, it's Vegas.
Yeah, you might as well destroy America right now.
Well, that's what people are saying. Like, it's Sodom and Gomorrah. So he literally could have denounced it and just was like, and it would make sense. He's a pastor.
Yeah.
Like, no, homosexuality is wrong. Right now, does that mean that there's not going to be those? No. Did that mean he's telling people don't come to the church? No. Come to the church, right? We still welcome you, but you're sinning.
But has he ever, in his sermons or his speeches, has he ever condemned homosexuality behavior?
I'm sure that I can't answer that question.
I mean, because
maybe in the early days before he became TD Jakes.
Yeah,
because like Stephen said, it's very clear, and this has been a topic in the church community for forever.
Like homosexuality.
Yeah, it's
they
always
don't-
been around.
They don't
so-
really even like. So you look at Atlanta, which has one of the most dense gay populations, especially in the black community. And do you think, like, you go to them churches, it's gays all over the place?
I'm not gays no more.
I mean, like, literally, it's like, I mean, it's like, yo, it is what it is. But as a pastor in 2023, who maybe your morals aren't you don't have the best moral compass, you're not going to talk out about it because then it affects your bottom line.
Well, let's be honest, right? So Mel said, "Can you imagine a world where this is true?" Obviously, I can. I think wide open. And look, I mean, look at how much money he's making.
yeah.
Like, people don't understand when you're at that level and you make that much money and you're in a certain position. There's only one way there, because there's going to be entities that are going to crush you if you get too big. Imagine TD Jakes all of the sudden deciding, wow, these systems of government we have are not good for us as a whole. We need to change this. And he starts putting out propaganda to get people to start building their own communities. And he's not only just putting out that propaganda, he's also funding initiatives to start developing our own jobs, developing our own power sources, developing our autonomy from the United States government. Imagine if that were to happen, because he just realized, maybe through research, some of the research that I do, wow, this is really messed up, you know? Then what? I mean, do you think he'd be able to accomplish that? Yes, very easily. So you have to keep guys like that on a short leash. So in order for him to even make it that high and have that much power, he was already being controlled. And they do that just at the inception of your church too. Like you get into that hierarchical system where the Catholic Church is essentially sending information down to your bishop to tell him what he needs to preach, how he needs to, what's his stance on this and that. And they manipulate the message. You know, you could debate how much manipulation, but it's there. And in order to get the money to start your church, you have to abide by certain rules. So I think that anybody at that level is already corrupted. That's just my personal opinion. Corruption is corruption. Now, to say that the man is with little children and stuff, I don't know. I'm not going to put that on him, but I don't feel like it's that far-fetched. If he's going to the Diddy mansions, he's up to no good. You know what I'm saying? So,
You think people in that position who go to these, I mean, just they're around celebrities, you think that they're automatically going to be doing something that's sinful, or that's like something that you
the
can
track
demean?
record isn't good.
I mean, just because, but if you're around a celebrity, it doesn't mean you know what these other people are doing. Because a lot of times it may be a surprise situation.
I agree, right? But I mean, let's be. I mean, we talked about these parties and stuff that I had, you know, back in the day. And if you know that the type of things that
You didn't
happen,
have freak offs though.
I don't even know what a freak off technically is. What denotes a freak off?
I mean, because I feel like you're comparing your past life to a freak off, which is
I'm comparing throwing a party where,
like you like, oh, things escalate quickly type.
I mean, there was sex, drugs. I mean, alcohol. I mean, it was all there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
normal though. For
okay.
parties.
Well, I don't know what a freak off is. So I'm just assuming it's a crazy party.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying, what was I saying? Damn it. Oh, okay. So people would hear about these parties and the stuff that happened, and they would intentionally want to come.
Yeah, let me come
like,
through.
like even if they heard they wanted to be in the place. They wanted to, you know, and then they would bring more friends with them, and I mean, you know, just crazy stuff used to happen. Like I've seen some crazy stuff, right? Like
I'm just trying to shoot him some bell. Like
Yeah.
if you're in a leadership position and someone who preaches helping people and, you know, living righteous and things of that nature, he's even at times spoken about how women need to, you know what I mean, get in line when it comes to men.
You better be careful with that. You only spoke about that a couple times, but
Hey man, I'm just saying.
yeah.
You know, but like you don't think him being in a position that he would know, like, okay, I can respect this person and then go to this person's party, maybe mingle and interact with them. But when it comes to these times for these cats that's getting it in like that, I'm a bounce. I mean, just because someone's in a picture laying their head on you, it doesn't mean that I mean, y'all have sexual energy with one another.
I don't disagree with you. And I don't have a position on this.
Oh, I don't either.
Right, I know you don't. And I don't think Chris does either. I'm just looking at the information as is, and I'm like, well, let's see what comes out. Because this is not the first time that something has come out about a religious figure. It's become to the point where it's normal now.
But it started from just someone typing something online.
Yeah.
A blog?
It was something like that. And then it got picked up by a little bit of a larger media network, and then I think that they're trying to see if TD Jakes is going to sue them. But at the end of the day, there are certain things that I'm not going to associate myself with if they're not in me. You know what I mean?
Pause. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Continue.
There-
Why do you get so bent down about that every single time? Just keep it flowing.
Because when you say it, it's almost as if I then said something gay, but it was not gay.
That's the intention.
You took it gay. I hate that shit. Anyway, so
yeah, it's not in you. You don't have this in you.
Nah, nigga, fuck it.
I mean, but if he did it, I mean, it's just like things start from a blog. And
So when you say it started from a blog, you're literally saying that one person, an author, said TD Jakes is sleeping with little boys at Diddy's house. And that's where all of this came
the
from?
little boys was a very small
Where's
off piece.
the evidence?
that's what I'm saying.
No. There has to be some evidence.
There's people that have. That's what they said. They described him as a power bottom. There's people that have. I don't have any physical evidence, but what physical evidence do you want?
Well, I'm asking, like, is there a record of him going to the party?
I mean, he's been there. There's videos and pictures.
Okay.
What was he doing at the party?
I don't know. There's no videos.
was he dancing? Was he
I
preaching?
don't. I think no.
I'm gonna say this, right? Because our dad is a bishop, and there was a lot of, when it comes to being in that position, there's a lot of foresight put into how you're perceived. There's certain places he's not going to go,
Yeah.
because of the position that he's in. So it puts TD Jakes in a very poor light if he is going to Diddy's mansion, period. Now, that doesn't mean anything, because Diddy, I'm sure, has some different charities and things he does.
To give you a little tidbit there, there was I guess TD Jakes was doing something with Revolt.
Right.
And so that's why
Right.
people they used that as kind of a something for TD Jakes. It's like, well, he could have been over there because they're doing some work together.
Right.
So it makes sense why he was over there.
Right.
So once again, I'm not passing judgment. I just heard about this. So I'm just like, let's look at this.
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing. It's just like it's in the same way that someone says they make a joke and they're like, "Oh, I'm just playing," right? And we say, "Well, there's always truth in jest. There's always something there. There's something there." Like,
There's
it's not
definitely
just
something.
even if you went to the party or you went to his mansion for his birthday party one time and that was it, and you went to say happy birthday, right? We're working together, you know what I mean? Like, I came off to drop you a gift and then I leave. No one's gonna say anything, but something is there, because no one's gonna randomly just say, "Oh, Steven did XYZ,"
Yeah.
right? Like, where did this came from? Somewhere there's a seed planted, so maybe it was 10 years ago he did something, right? And then last year, Diddy's birthday, he showed up back at Diddy's parties, and it sparked, "Oh, I remember 10 years ago when you were here and you did do this." And then they talked about it. Now it's like, "Oh yeah, well, this is what he be doing at these parties." So maybe it's nothing recent, but because you went to his birthday recently, now it sparked something that you did in the past. So because I think that it's enough. Even the allegation alone is damning in and of itself.
Is what TD Jakes? He has a family, right?
I'm just sure he does.
Yeah.
Do you think his family would be like?
I think that there's a lot of people that are just going to just brush it off as in this is just BS.
Hopefully, but well, not hopefully.
Not hopefully.
I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But according to, I guess you said that he was going to like die in a few years, or he's going to die.
I mean, that was, like I said, I don't have TikTok, so I can't look at the video myself. But it was like a 2-minute video. She was going off.
Well, let me
It was
say
very
this.
clear the way she described things too.
Depending on which, obviously, if this is a setup, then she could have been fed information, right? So I would look into her. I would look into her track record of predictions and what she's famous for and testimonials, just to see if there's any holes there. Not to say that there are. I'm just saying if I was going to research it, that's the first thing I would do.
Inspect what you expect.
Right. Then I'm going to look at. I mean, I think it's pretty solid. Like, once again, I'm just a newbie to this numerology thing, but. It makes sense.
The numbers.
The numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
The thing I will say is, let's just say it's just allegations, kind of like with Michael Jackson. It just leaves a mark. Now, he'll recover. If it's just allegations and just doesn't ever turn into anything, he'll recover. I don't know if there's anything going to come of the Diddy thing because he settled, right? So it's really just a court of public opinion right now, which matters, but they can only hold it for so long.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, it goes away unless TD Jakes is being attacked by the power structure because he did something out of line. Because like I said earlier, when you get into that position, you have certain things you can and can't do. I think that's this is not a slap in the face against anybody. But I think when it comes to certain religious people that have a lot of influence and power that are in the nation, I think that it's like, how come
U.S. nation or Nation of Islam? Okay.
it's like, how come we're not seeing any real progress? Like, even if let's say the nation is doing well, which I'm sure they do well, their standards and how they have a good code of conduct. So I'm sure they're doing well to a certain degree. But just like when you have a church, a big church,
Okay, I see where you're going.
in a community, and the community it's in the hood, and after 10, 20 years the church has been there and the hood is just deteriorating more and more and more, it's like, I'd call that into question. Because what is God's work? Like, what are you actually doing besides collecting a check and being a nonprofit and saving on taxes? Like, what are you actually doing? If I go to this church and for whatever reason I lose my job, I can't pay my rent. Like, are you gonna subsidize my rent? Are you going to, or better yet, are you gonna give me a job? Are you even forward thinking enough to create jobs? Like, are you forward thinking enough to look in the community and be like, okay, we have X, Y, and Z problem in the community. Let's focus on building solutions and answers for these problems. I just don't have a lot of stock in churches and religious leaders of that, size.
That size. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, whatever happens in the TD Jake situations, love and blessings and all that stuff. Wish everyone the best, but stop touching them kids, man. Stop. I mean, if you're a power bottom, do your thing with the power bottom. If you want to be gay, you know what I mean? I don't support it, but hey, it's your prerogative. You feel me?